I don't know. Okay, so I think we need to talk about this. I do not know what the problem is, why I love to start my videos on the staircase. Why? Why? It's not the best, it's not the most deleted place in this house. Why do I just love starting my videos here? No, I love it. I love the feeling of ascending and descending. Hi guys, welcome once again to my channel. Still Olivia here, and today, as a follow-up to my video on how my family and I became permanent residents of Canada, I promised that I was going to be breaking down the processes and relocated to Canada. So I told you I was going to be telling you the process, breaking down the process in bits and helping you get clearer pictures. I know a lot of these sound like jargon and can be confusing, but I'm here to help. A lot of you have asked. I am sorry that I cannot individually come to your inboxes and respond to. Believe me, there are so many, more than 20, 30. I'm not even lying, there are so many, so I cannot do individual help. So I'll try to make all these videos as detailed as possible so that you have minimal confusion and questions at the end of the day. So if you're just joining at this point, I would like to make it clear to you that you are on the Tech Mom TV. Welcome. And my name is Tech Mom Olivia, and you know what to do. Like, subscribe, share the good news. Thank you. I'll be back with all the gist shortly. Don't go nowhere. Nah, you're not going nowhere. You love me. So welcome back. On this video today, we are going to be talking about two processes. First, the very first process we'll talk about is the first aspect of relocating that we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about this first because I feel like it is so important. Like, if you have not had it figured out or checked out, don't even bother. It is the truth. Not trying to scare you, not trying to be harsh, but it is the truth. Don't even. This very first aspect is the proof of fund. The money you're going to be saying. I think the money that is involved in the process generally, not just the proof of fund, but every money that you'll be needing for your application, to do your medical, these character checks, start this process, you will understand that money will just be going. Whether for your certificate evaluation, whatever process you need to do, money will be going. So that is why this is one of the very important aspects of the process, and I don't want to mince word when I talk about it. So basically, I'm going to share again the required proof of fund for Canada. Yes, if you're relocating to Canada as a permanent resident, the required proof of funds. And then I'm going to list out the few of the processes that took our money officially. The unofficial ones, you're going to have to experience it. So you have to have money for logistics or miscellaneous, as we call it. But the official process or stuff that took money from us, I'm going to be listing it here. And we are also going to quickly talk about education. I hope the video does not exist. It's not too long by the end of the day. If it is, we may just stop at the money, but if it is not, we will quickly drag in credential evaluation. Simple. So now let's talk about money. As you have seen, the required proof of fund for different family size. We were a family of 5. You can see the required amount for my family, and then other aspects that had to take money. That proof of fund needs to stay in your account throughout the duration of your application. I think they feel more comfortable having it sit there. A few people move their monies around doing investment because knowing how the banking system works, how you pay money for keeping money for too long, people would rather invest and get something from their money. But just make sure that whatever you do with the money, when they require it, you have good explanation and you have the money handy What I think their one requirement is, whatever you do, let the money be handy. For example, we invested in a money market, we invested in fixed deposits, we also invested in treasury bills at different times of our application. But the bank will clearly say this money is available within 24 hours, within 48 hours, within this. Once you just apply for it, we have it. So they want to clearly know that you can access that money as soon as possible, as soon as you need it, not stories, not Ponzi scheme or anything. So when you invest in credible stuff that you can actually have certification. The bank gave us all the certificates we needed at different times. I think the last we did until we traveled was the mutual fund with money market, as Zenith Bank call it, with Zenith Bank before we came. So yes, they need that fund readily available at any time. They need to know that it is your money. They need to know that you can move with it as soon as they grant you your visa application, or they grant you your visa. So yes, that is a statutory and stag as in that one. They are not changing it, they are not changing their minds. Some people get asked at port of entry to show the evidence that they actually came into Canada with that money, not cash. No, not cash, like in their banks or in equity. I don't know, just show evidence that you entered. I wasn't asked, so I do not have first-hand information about that. So that is how serious they are about you having your proof of funds intact. So other avenues that you need to spend money is for your medicals. When we did our medicals, it was 46,500 for each adult. Then it drops as the children, as according to the age of your children. So I think it's from 15 years up and above, that is 46,000. And two of our children did 40,000, and then the younger one did 36 or something. 500. There's always 500 on each. So basically, when we calculate all our money, we did about 200,000 for the family of 5 for our medicals. We also did the IELTS. My husband and I wrote the IELTS. For this process, we wrote the exams just once. So at the time we wrote, it was 78,000 naira. Okay, I paid 75. My husband paid 78,000 naira for this exam. So each person paid 75,000. Might have changed by now. 75 and 78 might have changed by now. I don't know what the current fee is. So for your process, you will check. And then we had the evaluation of our degree. If you hear me, you keep hearing me say for this process, is because I have had the evaluation of my BSc in 2017 when we wanted to start. I think then we wanted to go to the provincial nominee program before we thought against it, or something changed in the system that we were no longer qualified for, and we stopped, took a step back. I went to do my master's and started working and doing other things, and then we came back again in 2020. So during 2017, that first time, I actually evaluated my BSc. So when I came back now with my master's for evaluation, what they did was to add this evaluation to my previous evaluation record. So I didn't pay the complete fee, but I paid around $100 for that evaluation, and at that time it was 30 something. But the first time we did, it was higher because it was our initial evaluation. I think we paid up to 150 thereabout for Inyama and I for evaluation. I cannot really remember. And again, this must have changed. The dollar rate and the dollar to your country's exchange rate is a huge factor. So I'm speaking basically hoping that most of my audience, or knowing that most of my audience are Nigerians, those that ask these questions are Nigerian. So I did that evaluation for that amount, and then we had I've talked about medicals. Yes, I've talked about medicals. I've talked about IELTS, and I've talked about the evaluation now. So we did the police character clearance. During the police character clearance, we're in Abuja. Police character clearance in Abuja is 10,000 naira. It is cheaper in Lagos. It is because the office where it is being processed is in Lagos. So for Abuja people, they actually have to finish it, then transport it down to Abuja, so we pay more. We pay 10,000 naira. That was what I paid. And then when you come to the evaluation process on its own now, I'm going to talk about it just after this. But it is part of the place you spend money too. My master's degree, when you're sending your transcript, when I sent my BSc in 2017, I paid 10,000 naira for my school. Was it 10 or 15,000 naira to my school? And they got the transcript sent to my to WES, which is World Education Service, and I didn't have to pay for verification. We'll talk about verification when we are talking about certificate credential assessment. So yeah, we thought then you will not pay. There are some schools where you pay for verification, but for my school, my BSc, I didn't pay. And when I did again for my master's, I paid 25,000 naira for the transcript sending, and I didn't pay for verification at that time. I didn't pay for verification. So when the process is done, that's basically the main expenditures I remember now. Of course, other small things like my husband had birth certificate, I had the age declaration from my home state and all that, but that was not sufficient. What Canada accepts is the one from High Commission, something like that. High Court, yes. So I had to redo those stuff. Some 10,000, 5,000 left me. So we had to get the age declaration or birth certificate from MPC. So there are few other stuff like that will take money from you. And then the application process itself, the application varies. For an adult was around 850 Canadian dollars for your visa application and your processing fee. I think 500, 250. Then for children, you pay just 225. So when you calculate all these things by your exchange rate, that 850 was just me, 850 for my husband, and then 225 per each child. When you calculate it by your exchange rate, you know how much you'll be paying for the number of family, your application fee at that time. So you just do the calculate by your exchange rate, and you will know how much you'll be paying for your application processes. So basically, these are the funds that I remember we spent. Okay, by the time you get your PPRO, when you get your PPRO, you need to send those stuff. Like I said, I had my biometrics in Abuja, so I use my biometric center. It is slower, but it's going to save us some cost. Like if I needed to send directly to a visa office where it will be stamped outside Nigeria, I may have to spend another 200,000 doing that. But because I did my biometrics in Abuja and I sent to Abuja, we spent less than 50,000 naira. So that was a welcome development. DHL collected 9,000 naira from me for sending it to Abuja visa office and back. And then I paid for processing fee for my family members who didn't do their biometrics, around 10,000 plus each. So that was 40 something thousand. And then we had the 9,000 naira that I paid for DHL, making it 49 roughly, or about 50,000 naira like I mentioned earlier. So that fee is already dead. So basically that's everything about expenditure, direct expenditure to them that I remember. And that is all. If there's anything I miss, I may just join it in any other video that I do concerning the Canadian process, or drop it in your comment section if you ask. So now let's move over to the second one. So let's talk about evaluations, or credential assessment as it is formally called. So we have three main bodies that I'm quite familiar with, and I'm going to tell you. So basically, law graduates from Nigeria prefer to evaluate their certificate with IQAS, International Qualification Assessment Service, because IQAS gives a law graduate the same acknowledgement as somebody with master degrees in other unprofessional fields. I don't know whether I can call it that, from other fields like mass communication that I have and all that. So the 5 years they spent in studying law is considered a professional degree, which takes you to the same level as a master degree holder. So IQAS is for law degrees, and then you have MCC, the Medical Council of Canada. Those are the bodies that evaluate medical degrees, and they also give them professional certification or acknowledgement, which place them in the same place as a master degree holder in some other fields. There may be other bodies that evaluate different professions, but these are the ones that I'm most familiar with, and that I know that most Nigeria in my circle used for this process. So IQAS, MCC, and WES. I use WES. So WES is World Education Service, and it evaluates my degree. Basically, my 4-year degree is 4-year degree in Canada. So I didn't have any problem of checking for evaluating body or assessment body that would give me a higher qualification. I knew it was BSc, PSc, either ways. And then the process to get that evaluation done is, first you go to WES site, create a profile on WES site, and tell them what you want to do. I want to evaluate my BSc, or I want to evaluate my BSc and my diploma, or my BSc and a certification I have, my BSc and my master's degree. Canada wants you to evaluate your highest certification, unless you want to claim points for what is called 2 or more certificate. That's because I have a BSc, but I also have ICANN for accountant, or I also took one year course somewhere. I want to evaluate it too. When you're taking those courses and you want it to add to your point, what you need to do is to ensure that that course, or the school, the institution you're taking the course with, is acceptable by any assessing body, whether WES, IQAS, or MCC. Just go to their website and check. They have the list of schools that they accept certificate from. You check to be sure that they accept that certificate and run your course. Some can be 6-month course, some can be 3-month course. You just make sure that the body you're using will be accepting that degree. So there's something called 2 or more certificate. That is, if you have a BSc and then or a diploma and then want to attach any other short course to it. So basically, WES wants you to evaluate just your highest certification, your highest degree. But since already I evaluated my BSc earlier, I added the MSc later in 2020 when I was starting my process all over again, and for the final time. So I had my master's evaluated, but the process was same in both ways. Wrote my school, submitted the transcript request form. For Nigerian universities, very few actually attend to transcripts as quick as possible, or as at when due. It is really a tug of war. Like, what you need to do sometimes is to have contacts in your school who you can be communicating with, who can help you check up in the office. You sent the transcript and all that, and some of those times, some things must happen. So in both cases, a friend who had collected his degree with a first degree school helped me with the contact of his uncle there, who helped, pressured and begged the department. That process took 8 months, even with the beg and that man being there. 8 months to get my transcript sent and evaluated and verified, because WES will collect your transcript, look at it, and now say, okay, it matches this and this and this, but send it back to the school to say, did you actually send us this certificate? They want to be sure that you didn't send it yourself. Did you actually send us this certificate? That process is called verification, and your school is supposed to say, yes, we sent it, for WES to go ahead. That process is, each school know how to formally send a transcript. So if the transcript comes in a different way, tampered with, not properly signed, WES will reject it, and you have to apply again for your school to send. It happened to me during my master's. It is not funny. My school sent my transcript, and WES said it was not sent in the proper way that others have been sent from that school. I don't know whether probably a different person signed. I really do not know, because they didn't clearly tell me why, but it was rejected. But since I had a contact in the school, I called crying, and the school helped me resend my transcript. The second one was actually accepted. So yes, the school, after verifying that the transcript was sent properly, they will now send it back to the school for verification. Once the school verifies and respond to them, to their verification mail, you are good. In a couple of days, weeks, you will get your education credential assessment certificate saying this person and this person sent us a transcript, and after evaluating it, we think that it matches a 4-year course in Canada or a 3-year course in Canada. Like my husband actually did a 5 years biochemistry course in Nigeria, but when Canada evaluated it, they say it equals their 4-year course, but it's still a degree. So there can be such altercation. It can come out the same. Me, it was mass comm 4 years, but it still came out 4 years mass comm in Canada. So I didn't have any difference or in both sides. I was good. And same with my masters. My masters was also a 2-year master, evaluated as a 2-year masters in Canada. So basically, that is the process. It's not as easy and simple as I said it now in these 5-7 minutes. It can be longer, it can be stressful, patient testing, but you have to wait the process through, because basically they just want to be sure that the certificate you're sending to them, because they are going to be appending their company stamp to say yes, this certificate is original and it's true. If later it comes out to be fake or a lie, they will have to, their body, their organization is put under the hammer of the law, and it will be like they are not doing their job. So they are trying to do their job to avoid litigation or whatever can come up from such messy situation. You need to be patient. One ingredient that you need for this Canada process is patience. You need a lot of it. So in this video, we're able to cover everything you need for transcripts and oh, I need to add that verification in some schools is paid for. Like after you pay to send your transcript, they come back, they still ask you to pay for the verification. Some school asks. I was lucky that both schools, I didn't have to pay. I think my husband paid for his own verification in his school. He paid as of 2017. So we have covered the funds you need for the process. Official funds, I cannot stress that enough. There are some other funds that I cannot be calling now on this, because it will be putting some people's job on the line and all that, but you know what I mean, that through each process, money may just be falling out of your hand from each side. But so I've mentioned the official money you need for this process, and also the process I took to get my certificate evaluated with Wes. In the next video, we talk about other processes. Bye bye.